views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey, everybody. It is so great to be connecting with all of you. Thank you so much for tuning us in and turning us on. And, you know, it's so really amazing. I really some days just have to pinch myself and just make sure that I'm actually awake. Or I can call Benny, and Benny will pinch me. Hello, Mr. Benny.
Hey, good morning, Pat. I'm virtually pinching you right now. Yes.
You're virtually pinching me.
You should be saying
right
ouch
now.
right now, but
I know. And we're just jumping up and down because, well, okay, so it is Groundhog Day. So the groundhog got to it before we did, but the sun is really out. And it brings a whole new side of everything to the forefront.
Spring. Woo!
Exactly. Popping it up. You know, one of the things that I discovered in 2004 is what happens when, as I did, and I'm just starting to write about this now, Benny. You know, what happens when you step out in the world and you say yes to your dream? And then then you decide, or somehow what creeps in your consciousness is a moment of doubt. And what happens when the universe wants to remind you that, nope, there's no place for doubt? So for me, what happened was, and I shared this during the last show, on April 1st in 2004, I got very, very sick. I came down with a mystery disease, and I didn't talk about it for all the years on radio. I just showed up because what I was called to do was very powerful. But along the way, I also learned about what it means to take better care of my body. That's what I love about having said yes to this radio show and now the network, is how do we learn more about what the essence of our bodily possibilities could be. Mark Ament is joining me here today, and we're going to be talking about one of the things that I did discover, and that is Maca, Maca root, Peruvian Maca, and where is the best place on the planet to get this from, and why should you know that? Well, here's what I discovered along the way, as Mark is going to talk about today. You know, you can go out and buy things online now, but here is the caution that I want to say to folks. We now know you want to be looking at organically grown. You want to be looking at fairly traded. You want to be looking at GMO-free, fresh, potent. That's what you want to be looking at, because when you take a look at Maca and the Maca team and what Mark and this amazing family-run business has done, and you look at the people that are growing this, you know, delicious Maca, then you want to know that what they are getting and the benefit they are getting is the same benefit you're going to get. And today's show is about wellness. Now, here's what I want to say to everybody out there. You do not have to go down the path or the journey that I went down. You do not. And that's what today's show is about, Maca for lifelong wellness. And after today's show, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite recipes, and Mark and I are going to kick it up. Mark, great to have you here. Welcome to the show. It's so great to be talking with you again.
Thanks, Dr. Pat. It's a pleasure to be here.
I want to just say this now, because this is really important. You know, when I did come down with that mystery disease in 2004, the whole nature of my show changed. You know, what I thought I would talk about changed. I entered the world of body, mind, spirit. And I never in a million years thought I'd be talking with someone like you who has a life that is so embedded in wellness about something that is so powerful, which is maca. And because I was sick, I got to discover it, but I also got to discover what is good maca and what isn't. And that's part of today's show as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we definitely want to bring that to the listeners' attention because me personally and the company I own and run, we want to educate people because we want them to get the benefits that are possible from maca. And not all macas are the same, as we can talk about.
Yeah. And, let's talk about the idea of lifelong wellness and just give a little backdrop because one of the things that we want to talk about is where the maca comes from and what it is. And for folks that may have missed the last show, just give us a little background on this because I think this is seriously important to bring this to the forefront.
Right. Well, maca is a traditionally grown food. It's the world's highest growing crop. It comes from the high Andes Mountains. That's where it's native. It grows wild there, and it is cultivated both. But it is native of that region. It grows at very high elevations. It's a root vegetable, so think of it like a radish or about that size. And it's been used that we know of in the literature for over 2,000 years to boost fertility, to boost energy, and boost the nutrition of people living up in the high Andes. And that's historically the only place it's ever been grown. And the only place that it actually grows well, honestly, is those high elevations. It's been tried in places in North America, but it doesn't typically form a good root. And in fact, the connection to Peru and Bolivia is so strong that the plant itself is protected as a genetic heritage plant of Peru. So legally, Peru would have to give permission for it to be grown anywhere else in the world. So luckily, up until about 2 years ago, the only maca you would ever see in a supermarket or health food store, probably wouldn't see it in a supermarket anyway, but health food store or online was from Peru. That was the only thing that was out there. However, over the past couple of years, farmers in a province in China, Yunnan province, have begun to grow maca as well. What's important about that is, again, it was not approved by Peru, so it's basically being done illegally or at least unethically in terms of international law. The second thing is the root doesn't develop well, as I've mentioned. We have on our website a whole resource about Chinese versus Peruvian-grown maca, and you can see the roots. The normal maca root is very round and looks beautiful like a radish, and the ones from China are all scraggly looking and just they're just not pleasant to look at. And then the fact is they just don't work as well. But why I wanted to bring this up, the Chinese grew 3 times as much maca last year as Peru did. So what's going to happen, and what is happening, as a matter of fact, my company's been contacted by a Chinese supplier to buy up, hundreds of tons of their maca. Of course, we will never do that because that's just nothing that we will ever do. But it is very, very important for everyone listening to know that if they're purchasing maca that's from China, it's not going to work the same. We've already had 3 or 4 calls of people who've gotten maca from China. Luckily, it was shown on the label as it should be, the origin of the product. And they're like, "Hey, this isn't working." And we said, "Listen, it's from China. We don't trust it for various reasons. Not only the fact that it's less potent, but chemicals in the soil, heavy metals in the soil, etc." And say, "Hey, try a different one. Try ours. Try a Peruvian-grown one." So I just want to emphasize that for everybody listening.
Right.
If whether you buy ours or not, as long as you make sure that the maca you get is, as you said, organic, GMO-free, fair trade. That's the baseline. That's just the standard as it should be. But that it's from Peru. And that you can trust that it's from Peru. That's super important. And for various reasons, in addition to helping people get the most benefit there's the whole point of, supporting the Peruvian farmers who this root belongs to as part of their heritage,
Well, and I think it's important because, first of all, we're not just talking about understanding what really does make a highly potent maca for energy, for memory, for balance, for muscle building, to combat depression. When people put their trust in something and they step out, they want to know that, wait a minute, I'm using this for mental clarity. And for me, that's why, I really got hooked on this because, I started to feel like I wasn't getting clear enough. I wasn't thinking clear enough. And, it had something to do with the aftermath of my illness, here, Mark. Mm-hmm. And what I found was that by, using the maca, I am getting sharper and sharper and sharper. But you and I were talking about this during the break. It's not just about looking at it for wellness, but it's finding something, first of all, that works. Secondly, that tastes really good. And third is, buying it from people that we can trust. And that's what you're really talking about here today. We're going to take everybody on a journey with us. What is it about maca for energy? Why is it now that we are getting so depleted in the world that we are trying to keep pace with? And how can maca help us for this, for wellness, and much more? And we have some great specials that Mark has put together for all of the listeners here on the Dr. Pat Show. We'll tell you about that. And we have a fabulous giveaway for somebody. So lots to talk about, lots coming. We want to make sure that you have the information so you can be informed and make a decision. Look, you can go to the Maca team.com. That's THEMACA team.com. Everything is out there in the open, videos and much more. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, get ready to find out about how you can revitalize your energy barometer with maca. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic. Hey everyone, meet my friends at the Maca team. The ancient Inca root vegetable maca is known worldwide for its huge array of health benefits. As a family-run company of true maca specialists, the Maca team is here to bring you the best maca the Peruvian mountains has to offer. Yellow maca, used to promote endurance, vitality, fertility, hormone health, and much more, is on sale now. I love it. Visit themacateam.com to order yours now. Themacateam.com.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mvholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune into Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Right here, right now. Calling out to all area group. We gon' make it all happen right here, right now.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm just, oh boy, I'm telling you, Mark and I are just going crazy here talking about this during the break because, there are some things you're going to hear us share moving forward on the Dr. Pat Show on Transformation Talk Radio. And one of them is, in talking about the quality and the labeling. And, Mark, this is really important because now we're talking about, look, if you know where to get the Maca from, and now we do, and for those of you that missed the first segment, you can go to the website, themacateam.com, or go to the Dr. Pat Show, and we've got banners that you can click on to take you right to all the information you need. But the question is, how does this work? What is it about this, this amazing food? What is it about this that when we put it in our bodies know what to do? How does it work for energy? How does it work for memory? And I was just saying during the break, Mark, when I miss a day or two, not only can I feel it, but Linda ends up turning to me and saying, "What's the matter with you?" And I would love for you to talk about how this is working.
Yeah, I'll do my best to do that. You're not alone. I was just in preparing for this show, I looked through our extensive testimonials page, and there's quite a few people on there saying, I didn't really discover how much energy I was getting from taking this until I stopped taking it for a few days, and then I'm like, hey, wait a minute, what happened? So it's not uncommon. The first thing to think about Maca in terms of it giving energy, and it is one of the uses that it has been touted as that for thousands of years. The first thing to know is that it's really a nutritionally dense food. It's pretty high in protein. It's got 8 grams of fiber. It's got also all 19 essential amino acids. It's got vitamins A, B, AB1, B2, B3, C, and D in enough amount to matter. So first of all, you're getting a good nutritional dosage or serving of nutrients that a lot of people we just don't get, especially if we're eating food grown on depleted soils. So that's the first thing. Yeah. The next thing is we talked a little bit about this, I think, last interview, that Maca works as an adaptogen. Yeah. And an adaptogen is a rare kind of plant that sort of boosts your overall life force, for lack of a better word term. It helps the body to energize itself by simply stimulating the production of hormones is basically how we think it works. It's not 100% science behind it, but by balancing the hormonal system, a lot of people are going to feel more energy. Think of, I don't know, I sometimes listen to sports radio, and my team, the Broncos, is actually in the Super Bowl this week, so I get all excited about that when it gets towards that. Can't help it. I grew up in Colorado, so. But But, on there you hear so many ads for men with low testosterone, for example. And one of the major things is they have no energy, that one of the complaints. Well, people who take Maca get their hormones in balance over time, and that's going to energize. And the beautiful thing about it is, unlike an energy drink, like, a Red Bull or something like that, it's not going to stress your adrenals. So Maca doesn't do that. So the energy you get, and you've probably noticed this, Dr. Pat, where you get an energy that it lasts a while, right?
Yeah. And, this is really what we're talking about. We're talking about, how do we, today's world, electromagnetic fields. I mean, many of us, we're embedding ourselves in the digital age. And whether we know it or not, our cells are affected by it and depleted. So how do we rejuvenate them? How do we feed them with positive things, so to speak?
Yeah, exactly. When you look at, I don't know if you've heard of Kirlian photography, it kind of takes the picture of the aura or the energy field of something. And Maca is it has a vibrant field, the energy around Maca. So it's just something that does boost the energy and gives, life to the cells in a sense. It's a high quality, like, it's good energy in, and positive out, right? It's like pretty simple.
Right.
That's one of the main uses of it. And as I mentioned, just to put it in a little historical perspective, it energized. It was so powerful. Maca was so powerful when the Spanish went to what became Peru and Bolivia. The generals of the army had to ban Maca because their soldiers had too much energy. They're just running around going crazy. So it's an interesting anecdote, but shows the potential of this simple food, and it's a simple food. It's I want to remind everybody listening that it's not an herb, it's not a supplement. It's a food, and that's how it's been treated, and that's how it's consumed. People in Peru often eat it in a porridge. For my 6-year-old daughter, I make pancakes with it, mixed in with the other flour. So it's great in that sense. It's not something our bodies, we have to be super careful with to not take too much.
Well, part of this is to understanding that our body's going to tell us what it wants, and they're also going to tell us what it wants more of. And part of what I was just sharing with you, and we're talking about this today, is let's talk about this idea of mental clarity, if we could, for a minute.
Sure.
We hear things now, with people, how they're not able to focus, how it's harder for them, to be sharp as they used to be, how it's more difficult. Fog. We hear the idea of fog right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm in a fog, right? And, what we're talking about is from a neuroplasticity point of view, certainly we're talking about brain functioning, but we're not talking about what we can do to, again, do something that feeds our bodies, feeds our cells, so that we can optimize the way we function. Right, Mark? I mean, the body is an amazing thing. We're just not optimizing it.
Exactly. I think so. I mean, that's the few people I know who do that have amazing capacities. And I think a lot of us, we get stuck in sort of a rut and we don't go for what's really good. That's why I really like what you're saying, when you really go for your dreams, right? When you really go for being healthy, because that's the fundamental thing. It's not having a lot of money. If you don't have your health, what do you have?
You don't.
So that's the key thing. And what is health? I guess it means a little bit different things to different people. But for me, it's being outside, spending quality time with my daughter, riding my mountain bike, having energy to do all that and run my business. It's a whole lifestyle. And doing the sorts of things that support that is what I want to do. So I've found that Maca in particular is one of those things that really supports an active lifestyle. And as you said, it's a lifelong wellness in the sense that it's something that people in Peru take their whole lives, and the people who take it in the traditional altitudes, of 9 to 12 to 15,000 feet. They're doing amazing for that high of altitude. So I think it's something or in my experience, it's been something that only adds to the quality of life. And, interestingly, you did bring up memory and clarity and focus. And on our website, we do have a research page that's under our Maca facts section. And there have been at least 10 studies we know of that show this, that Maca is enhancing memory. It's enhancing the ability to focus and concentrate. Most of the research has been done in a scientific setting with laboratory animals that are learning faster and doing better, but it bears out, the research bears out in all the testimonials we get too. One thing is college students love it, or students in general, but we've heard from many college students, hey, studying for my finals was so much easier after being with Maca for a couple weeks. So it is something that's great, because why should we have to feel lethargic, and unmotivated and unclear when, we don't necessarily have to?
Well, and part of this for me is, when I do a show, like right before I start to do, several hours of radio, I'm really clear that I have got my NutriBullet out and I've got things getting ready to go. And I do it so naturally. So when I don't do it, it's interesting how I start to feel about, not just before the show or after the show, but people can realize that because of how busy we all are, and we are busy, and how busy we are. But the other thing that I've discovered around this, Mark, and I hope you'll talk about it when we come back from break, and we've got something to give away. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and we have something out here that people talk about quite a bit. It is gray quite a bit. You can feel a bit down some days, but I'm telling you, I have not had that issue here this winter at all. So when we come back, Mark's going to talk about, well, wait a minute. Yeah, we can use it for energy. We can use it for hormone balancing. But how about things that are happening psychologically? How about depression? How about anxiety? What are some of the case studies that we can talk about? We've got that and much more when we come back. And we've got a fabulous giveaway from one of our listeners. We've got a bag of Maca along with a jar of capsules. We're going to tell you about all of that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I'm sailing away, set an open course for the virgin sea.
The doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Vasili and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
Tune in to the Angels and Answers Psychic Radio Show with clairvoyants Artie Hoffman and Sky Siegel every Thursday for a 2-hour show, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio. Artie and Sky deliver spiritual and motivational messages with passion and a sense of humor. Call in 800-930-2819 for live and on-air readings. Visit artiehoffman.com and skyofangels.com.
What is a master soul gardener? With Nomi Bahar, you can be one too. Her revolutionary Gates of Power method is a comprehensive program that addresses every aspect of yourself and gives you the tools to tend to the seeds of your soul's garden. Let Nomi guide you through and beyond what's holding you back and help you embrace the life you've always dreamed of. To learn more about upcoming classes and workshops, visit gatesofpower.com today.
A word of caution: if you prefer the status quo and you are not interested in improving every aspect of your life, this book will trigger the shift out of you. The Truth is Funny, Shift Happens is available now. Author Colette Steffen brings the powerful knowledge and life-changing energy and empowerment from the radio airwaves to the pages of her new book. To get your copy in paperback or ebook, visit thetruthisfunny.com today.
What are vibes? We often use this word, but did you know vibes can actually be useful and help solve our everyday challenges? Embark on an exciting learning journey with Caitlin Keat, 11-time Visionary Award winner, specialist in vibrational energy, and the creator of Vibes Up. Join Caitlin as she takes you through the world of vibrational therapy and energy healing, with natural solutions for a modern world. Visit vibesup.com to learn more today.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to be connecting with all of you. And we are thrilled to be talking, with Mark Ament joining us here today. And, he and the family are behind the Maca team. And if you want to find out more, go to themacateam.com, M-A-C-A team, themacateam.com. Check it out. Everything we're talking about today, you pretty much can find over there. And as I said before, we're going to be giving away, we have a Pay It Forward giveaway for one of the callers. It's a pound bag of maca along with a jar of capsules. And Mark, maybe you can talk about that for a minute in relationship to the question that is just being asked by one of our listeners who sent us a message. And the question is this from Marie. The question is, I just heard you mention the NutriBullet. Thank you for talking about that. Is it okay? Is it okay to put the powdered maca or the liquid maca in the NutriBullet? Does it break it down? Is it still effective? That's a great question. Thank you so much for that question. Mark, maybe you can give us a little insight. I think we have a little misconception a bit about the maca.
Yeah, that's a good. It's a really good question. And
Yeah,
I'm happy to share a bit about it. So the maca we have we sell in 3 different forms. As you mentioned, we've got a powder that is just the root itself made into a powder, very, very fine powder. And then we've got that same powder in capsules that we make in-house, and vegetarian capsules, I should say. And that is just 100% the powder in the capsule for people who want that added convenience, and also the if they want to avoid the taste, which some people do not like the taste of maca, other people do. Then the third way is we have it in a glycerin-based extract. And so to answer the specific question, we'd really only be talking about powder putting into a NutriBullet. And it is fine to put it into a NutriBullet maca. It's already been powdered. You're not going to oxidize it more. That's the big concern with putting things into a blender, like say a handful of raw kale leaves. So some people in the raw food world would say you don't want to blend that up because it oxidizes the vegetable matter, and what you want to do is chew it up with your own teeth.
I got it.
But that's not the issue with maca itself. You put it in a blender. We also have blender bottles, which are those nice little bottles with a spring in it that we sell at a really good deal too, for people to blend it up if you're just using like rice milk or almond milk or something. And I did want to add one thing, Dr. Pat, if I can.
Sure, please.
For the giveaway, I think I didn't communicate it well with Linda, must have been. But let's say this. I want to give somebody all 3 things. So we're going to get a bag of maca, capsules, and then one of the liquid extracts. So I just wanted to up that so somebody can try all the forms.
Oh, that's great.
And And what I'll do is whoever wins that will you guys put me in touch with that person, and I will talk to that person and find out what the best maca for their particular level of health and their situation is, because we do have 8 different products, so I want to make sure we get that the best one for them. So
I love that idea. And so let's do that right now, actually. I would love to open up the phone lines, and we're going to go to the first caller, and this is amazing, because what you'll get to do is you'll get to speak with Mark about it and explain to him what the situation is, what you're trying to improve. And as he did for me, he'll be able to make a recommendation that's very specifically going to address your particular situation. So I would love to do that first caller. So when you do call in, we're going to need your phone number, and we're going to need an email and your full name so that we can get a hold of you. 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819, first caller. And again, Mark's going to contact you directly. So we'll need your phone number, we'll need an email, as well as your address. Thank you so much for doing that. Phone lines are open if you have questions as well. I know there are a lot of questions here. You know, Mark, during the break, you and I were talking about our mental states, let's just call them. Mm-hmm. And I was sharing with you that, I'm just not been that effective this year here with what's going on in terms of the weather and the grayness. And so, for people listening, they might be thinking, well, wait a minute, what has that got to do with Maca? And so what are some of the stories that we have, to share with people about how how Maca can help them with their emotional states?
Isn't that cool? Yeah, there's so many, so many that I've heard over the years and been associated with Maca. Many people take it and notice right away sort of an uplift in mood, uplift in spirit. I remember about 15 years ago, I was living at a raw food community, and there was a famous person within that community who was suffering from depression. Herself had been on raw food. It had helped some, but she still had this lifelong issue. Taking Maca, she started to feel a lot better. And it's a little bit what we talked about with the adaptogenic property of raising your life force energy through Maca. And sort of eliminating that brain fog. And once you start feeling that way, it's kind of like a snowball rolling down a hill that gets bigger and bigger. The more momentum you get to feel better, the more you want to do the things that make you feel better, right?
Yeah.
It's just that way. So, and for many people, and we have customers who've written in that and I'm not recommending this in any way, so don't take this wrong, but people have been able to, with the help of their doctor, stop a medicine for depression, an antidepressive medicine, and just take Maca. So that is possible. It has happened. We've heard from people on that. But even for people who just generally feel a little low or not very energetic, Maca changes that, or can change that altogether. And it's something that works over time. It's not something like an aspirin that works immediately. It's something that you need to, and I don't know how your experience was, Dr. Pat, but most people it takes between 10 days and 2 weeks to really start to feel some of the initial benefits. So that's important to keep in mind. It's a food, and it does take time to build up in the system. But I can highly recommend it as a way to, start jumpstart yourself to get going. People had New Year's resolutions last month, and if you still, want to be exercising and out there doing some of those things you promised yourself, Maca might be a way to, stimulate you to get those going.
Well, and this is really just about, let's talk about it. Let's feel, let's feel better. Right?
Yeah.
Let's feel better. And that's really what we're talking about here today. Let's feel better. The other thing is, Mark, and we're talking about this as well, it's that, well, wait a minute, how does this connect to the entire body system? And right now in the world, and I know we're going to talk about this on another show, is that You know, people and the rise of autoimmune conditions is higher than it's ever been. And so, what is it that we can say about maca that helps literally build strong bodily systems?
Great. You know, it does increase circulation, for example. We know that from studies. So, and in fact, it increases it so much that your blood pressure may go down as a result. So people on blood pressure meds, we always recommend, hey, just be monitoring that because of the increase in circulation, right? So that's obviously going to help the whole system to have a stronger immune capacity, of course. You know, we've even seen where research has shown that it can help somewhat to protect against UV rays, so the antioxidant content. So it's got that rich nutrient profile is really is helping the whole body system really to respond in a positive way to whatever's going on outside. It doesn't mean that you can take this and you know, just, you know, stand in front of a cell phone tower and feel great. You know, you might have to do some other things as well. But it can be a great jumpstart into a much healthier lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is really the place that, you know, we come to understand the holistic aspect of wellness. And that's what today's show is about. Maca for lifelong wellness. We're not talking about intermittent. We're talking about lifelong wellness. And, you know, there's something that we can learn from the people in Peru as well. You know, there is a reason that, you know, that the maca comes from Peru. There's a reason, you know, why we're looking at this for whole systems, you know, wellness. And I know today's show, we're touching upon a number of these different things, but you're getting stories and letters, you know, each day about what people are experiencing from, you know, how their lives have changed. And they're pretty profound, aren't they?
There's some that are just, you know, life-changing. There's people who've finally conceived a child. I mean, what's more life-changing than that, right? Right. That couldn't, and the fertility is one of the main things that maca has been used for. In fact, in Peru, it's still prescribed by doctors when people are struggling with infertility, even before some of the more conventional treatments. So, you know, that's a pretty amazing one. We get a lot of stories about people who have whatever hormone imbalance, can be bad skin, you know, and the acne clears up over time with maca. Menopause symptoms is a great one. That one. We get those every day, pretty much. Somebody saying, wow, I can't believe, thank goodness, you know, this is a lifesaver. Then, you know, on the other sort of end of the spectrum, life spectrum, it's great that it works for people of all ages, because on the other end of that spectrum, you've got, you know, young athletic people reporting, hey, I'm much stronger than I used to be, or I notice my bike ride time on my bike ride goes way down. We've even got a couple of professional athletes who are using it and loving it. And one guy, he competes in sort of a mixed martial arts league, and he's in his early 30s, and he said, hey, I'm keeping up with the 20-year-olds, and I think it's because of this maca. So it's really cool that it's a product that it's not confined to one segment of the population.
Right.
It really is something that people can incorporate in their lives daily, and people do in Peru. It's a daily thing. It's like, you know, it's like eating bread in a sense. You know, it's something that's just omnipresent for people in the high Andes and has been for years. So it's really amazing that way, and I think that's the way we should treat it too. Is it's not, you know, a fixing a herb that fixes something and then you're done with it, or a medicine, but it's something. It's part of a lifestyle, and it's part of a healthy regimen to have. And what's cool is, you know, as I mentioned, the nutrient density. You're getting some great nutrients in this as well. To the hormone balancing effects. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's why it's called the superfood.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
We don't just kind of throw that around lightly, right? That's why it is called a superfood.
Yeah,
across the board.
I just wanted to say, the superfood label, I really, I don't like that label anymore, but because everything is a superfood now, right? I mean, kale and blueberries and all that. And that, in some sense you could say that, but I consider kind of those as just normal food.
Yeah.
But I like the term more that has come up as functional food.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard that one, but that makes sense to me. It's it's a food that you eat that can perform a specific function within your body. The big one Maca does is everything hormone balancing. So it actually does perform that function. And as you mentioned, we see those kind of results every day. We're getting, and that's the best part of what I do is reading those testimonials and saying, wow, in some way, our company, our little company here has contributed to the health and wellness of somebody. That to me is worth every effort I have to make, to make sure we get the quality product, etc. I'm just so happy and grateful we get to be on the receiving end of that sort of commentary.
Well, and the reason I say this, is because there's so much now that we're starting to learn. And part of the show today and part of what you're talking about is how to put the right solution in the right hands. And that's part of what we're talking about. Now, if you don't mind, one of the things we did last time is we came up with a way to make sure that if you didn't call in and, you didn't get, the giveaway for today, we also have a way that we're partnering with Mark and the Maca team to make sure that you all have an opportunity to buy this Maca. And there's a special discount that you're giving people. So can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, sure. I'm always happy to do that, and it's really a pleasure to be on your show, and I thank you for that. To get this message out to all of your great listeners, and as sort of a thank you to the listeners, I wanted to provide a special coupon code that's valid on the whole product line, and that's going to get you 15% off, and it's super easy to use. You just go to themacateam.com/Pat, P-A-T, and you'll see the code there, and you're welcome to use that, and that's going to be a nice little discount for any listener, and as a thank you for tuning in, and an inspiration a bit, motivation to get you started if you're not started on sort of a holistic and healing path.
Wow. There's a number of shows that we're going to do. And we're going to start to share some of our recipes. Jessica and I are going to put those together. And we've started to take pictures because, one of the things I think we're learning is, and I think that, for the people listening today, we've now emerged and have moved beyond just putting whatever we can in our body to be healthy. I was really struck by how good the Maca tastes. And we haven't talked about that yet. And I think we should mention that because I have found it, by far the best I've tasted, so much so that I came up with a mocha coffee drink with it. And it was just delicious. And I know you must get that feedback as well.
Yeah, but the quality Maca tastes typically really good. The red Maca in particular, just so everybody knows, is a little bit the sweetest tasting for some reason. So it's kind of the very most pleasant. I love that. I'll even drink that in water. Honestly, it tastes so good to me. So it is in the horseradish family. So that's interesting. The plant itself sort of in terms of the botany of it. It is in the horseradish family, and it can be a little spicy for some people once in a while, especially if it hasn't been grown and harvested properly. But we take a lot of care to make sure that happens. So you do get a good tasting product because after all, if it doesn't taste good, you're most likely not going to use it. And, as I mentioned, for those folks who don't like the taste of it, then, take it in a capsule or use the glycerin extract because those extracts are really sweet tasting because of the glycerin. So it's great. You've got those options, but I'm really glad that you like it and enjoy the taste, because I think it adds a really nice nutty, caramely flavor to many things. And I'm happy you're going to share some recipes, because that's one of the things we're updating on our website even as we speak, is the recipe section, because there's so many great recipes out there. And it's something that, you don't have to just take it in a smoothie. You can enjoy maca mixed into your foods. You can enjoy it even on a salad, or it doesn't have to be a sweet food either. There's lots of savory possible recipes too. So that's really cool. And that's something we want to, get more in front of people, is say, hey, here's lots of options. Think of this as a staple in your house, just like you might have, cane sugar, for example, or something. Except that it's going to do a lot more for you than that. So that's the amazing thing.
The thing that I think we should mention here, and this was the trouble that I got into early on. People believe that more is better. And I think we should stop for a minute and talk about this, because there are two questions that came up. One of them came from Linda and said, my gosh, you should talk to Mark. I mean, can you take too much of it? That was number one. And then the other question really that comes up, and it just came up here, was, how much is enough? Do you use a lot? I mean, so these are the kinds of things we're so used to, heaping tablespoons on things. And I discovered that that's not the case here.
You don't need to do that. Most people don't. You can. Let's just back up and say it's a food. There's nothing wrong with it, that you're not going to hurt yourself by taking quote unquote too much. So so some of our bodybuilding people who use it, natural bodybuilders, they'll put in 3 tablespoons a couple times a day even. And that's fine for them. Super active. They're burning it up. What we find for most people, a range between 1 teaspoon and 3 teaspoons a day is sufficient, and we do have pretty clear serving indicator based kind of on weight and activity level that people can take advantage of to see what we recommend. So that said, it is important. It's not something, a little bit is good and a lot is way better. It doesn't work that way. And I did read, interestingly, I was just talking to yesterday, I was with some of the people we're involved with in Peru and talking to them. And one of the men mentioned he read an article in Spanish a couple months ago that said this doctor has been prescribing maca and studying it. And he said basically anything over about 25, 30 grams, which is about 3 tablespoons, really doesn't work anyway. Once you get over that. So, the point is, find a good base level for you. I'm about 170 pounds, and I will take about a tablespoon or 10 grams a day.
Right.
But if people are working, let's say they're working on a therapeutic issue like with menopause symptoms or maybe fertility, something that they're really trying to get a very concrete result, I would say, take a little bit more at first, so maybe you would take, in my case, a tablespoon and a half, and then, let your body adjust to it, because your body's going to tell you too. That's the great thing. If you pay attention to your body, it's going to say, okay, I've had enough for today, or you might even you reach for the bag and smell in there one day and kind of get a sense, you know what, it doesn't smell so good, I might not take it today. No problem if that happens too.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I love about this is that we have to keep reminding ourselves that this is a food and that it's yummy and it's good for us. And it doesn't really get any purer or any better than what you get at the Maca team. Mark, thank you so much for today. What a great show. And we've got more coming. I want to ask you one last question. A personal message. What do you want to leave us with here today?
Oh, wow. That's such a great question. Well, thank you. Before I do that, just thank you. And thank you for your great questions and getting this information out there. I think I have to just say the personal message I would say is just for everyone to stay hopeful, stay focused on what you want to do on the positive. I know a lot of people tuning in here are on that wavelength. Stay focused on what you want, and whatever you want is wanting you back. I believe that, and it's going to show up.
I love it. Mark, everybody at the Maca team, we love this. Next time Mark comes on, we're going to take on some of the tough issues. What are people saying? And we're going to be sharing some recipes, everyone. Remember this, that, Mark said it all. Stay hopeful. Keep your chin up. And remember, positivity rules. We'll see you next time on the show.
Preceding audio was via a Skype call.